shiddati shauqi, wa shida ya mapenzi, wa wajdihi wa hubbihi lilhabibi Muhammad. Thumma lamma kharaja, alipomaliza ziara ya kwenda kumzuru Mtume sallallahu alayhi wasallam, akatoka. Aqbala alayhi Siddiq, wakaanza kupambana na bwana Abu Bakar. Alipopambana na bwana Abu Bakar, faqala la, bwana Abu Bakar akamwambia, halla adhanta lana ya Bilal. Bilal, hutukui nafasi ukatuadhinia na sisi? Hutukui nafasi ukatuadhinia na sisi? Halla asma'tana adhanak, tusikilizishe adhani yako, allati, ambayo kanu fiha ma'a nabii Muhammad, adhani ambayo kwamba walikuwa wakimwadhinia Mtume Muhammad. Tukuomba utuadhinie. Faqala sayyiduna Bilal li sayyidina Abi Bakar, ma'dhiratan ya Aba Bakar,
You can now access Al Huda TV anywhere, anytime, on the go. Enjoy watching all your favorite programs on Al Huda TV mobile application. From now onwards, you will not miss out on any of our programs. We have added a couple of engaging features such as Quran recitation featuring your best Quran reciters, Ramadan timetable to help you keep track of your fasting, prayer times, adhkar to bring you even more closer to Allah, and zakah calculation. Do not forget, we are streaming live right in the palm of your hands. Al Huda Mobile, with you everywhere you go.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Karibuni wapenzi watazamaji katika kipindi kingine cha nasaha kwa umma, ambapo tunaangazia sana kuhusu wasia and the youth in our environments. Pamoja nami katika studio yetu leo ni Mr. Kiarie Mwangi from Fariji and Madam Mary Kiambe, the Director of Rehabilitation and Welfare in Prisons. Jina langu ni Rahma Idi. Karibuni sana wapenzi watazamaji, na ningependa sana tuingie moja kwa moja katika mada yetu ya leo ambayo tunaangazia juvenile rehabilitation. Naam, Madam Mary, tukianza na wewe upande wangu wa kulia, ningependa kidogo tupe historia yako, taarifa kidogo kukuhusu, na tukifuata na Mr. Kiarie Mwangi.
Okay. Kwa majina jinsi umesema, naitwa Mbiri Kaemba. Nafanya na idara ya prison service na nimefanya katika hiyo idara kwa miaka karibu 35 years of service, ambapo nimekuwa tu nikijihusisha na kazi ya kurekebisha wafungwa ambao wanakuja kwetu, ambapo ni watu wazima na pia watoto. So ile kazi tunafanya ni kudevelop programs ambazo zitasaidia hawa watoto kurekebika, ili wanapokwenda nje ama watu wazima wanapotoka jela wawe watu wa maana wakirudi nje baada ya kukaa na sisi kwa muda ambapo watakuwa wamekuwa convicted.
Shukran Madam Mary. Na Kiarie Mwangi, pengine utuambie, we know you're very popular in this station. Yes, probably, and a small introduction regarding yourself.
My name is Kiarie Mwangi. I'm the team leader Fariji. Na asante sana my sister Madam Haemba for coming, taking time. Sisi Fariji tunasemanga we talk to the youth using their language. And their language is sports. And we also talk to them in their environment. Na tunazungumzanga now one pale jela. We have got sports programs we run inside the prison. We have been there for 12 years. Tumeunda team inaitwa Committee United FC huko ndani. Na my brothers wanapotoka hapa nje tumetengeneza team inaitwa Team X, ambayo ni the team made of ex-offenders hapa nje. So our interest is in youth. Tunasema ujana ni moshi.
Yes.
So we also work closely together to ensure that they live well within the community. Asante.
Thank you. Amazing. Na watazamaji nyumbani, bila shaka leo tumewaandalia mambo kadha wa kadha kuhusu hizi prisons, na Mr. Kiarie hapa, he has gone out of his way to even make up a sports team with these convicts, which is such an amazing factor. And I would like, for instance, Madam Mary, ningependa sana utueleze kuhusu these factors, or what happens, so that why is it that the youth are being led into these prisons?
I want to say that youth getting into crime is a big challenge that we are having now. And there are so many motivating factors. Yani kuna mambo mengi ambayo yanafanya vijana wa sasa kuingia katika jela. La kwanza ambalo linafanya wengi waingie jela ni kuwa wanakuwa na peer influence, ambayo wanataka wafanye vile wenzao wanafanya. So utapata kwamba wengi wanaingia katika substance abuse, wana abuse drugs, and in the process when they abuse drugs, it's like they lose a sense of direction. They become destabilized, and therefore most of them become rebellious. Wanakataa kwenda shule. Unapata kwanza wanakataa kwenda shule. Na mara nyingi utapata kwamba watoto ambao tunapata jela, I'm saying watoto kwa sababu wale we call juveniles in our prisons ni wale ambapo wameingia wakiwa miaka 15 hadi 17. Unajua kishafika miaka 18 wanatakana waende jela kubwa. Lakini sasa below 17 years we stay with them. Na tukiwa interview mara nyingi huwa wanakuwa tu, most of the crime they commit ni drug abuse, rebellious, they refuse to go to school, and therefore they are they become our clients. Two, there is a lot of dysfunctionality, yani familia ambazo hazina mwelekeo, in the sense that they don't direct, hawafundishi watoto tabia ambazo zingewasaidia wawe na direction. That is youth dysfunctionality, and that's why you find that most of the juvenile we have, they come from single parents. Single parents, meaning dysfunctional families. Wazazi hawako wote pamoja. Unapata kwamba that's why most of the boys, they really want men to model, but they don't have men in their homes. So unapata kwamba they wanakuwa directed mostly by their mothers, and it's like they underrate or they overlook their mothers. So unapata kwamba mama anataka kumuelekeza mtoto aende njia nzuri, lakini ni kama mtoto anamsema na mama huyu naye amenichokesha na niambia nini. Lakini tunaona kwamba kama wangekuwa na father figure ambaye anatoa sauti na kumwambia mimi kama babako nimesema 1 2 3 na ninataka ufuate hiyo, na iwe ni kama ni amri, utapata kwamba watoto wanaume kuja jela ingepunguka, kwa sababu sasa we have the huge population ya watoto kuja jela. Another factor that drives to youth kuja jela ni yani ni age of discovery to adolescent. Yani wanajisikia they want to discover, they want to do what, and you find that they engage in things that are not very healthy, like also they commit a lot of defilement. Unapata ni kwamba wana engage kwa vitu ambavyo haviwasaidii. Na saa hii hatuwezi kusema kwamba watoto we excuse them kwa sababu ni watoto. Ukishafanya defilement wewe umefanya makosa. Another factor ni poverty in families. Ni umaskini. Unapata kwamba familia nyingi sasa they are very poor, and when they are poor, kutoka zamani tunajua kwamba responsibility ya kutake care of family ni mwanaume, si ni kweli? Sasa unapata kwamba watoto vijana wamewekelewa huo mzigo kubeba hiyo responsibility. Sasa unapata kama hana namna ya kazi, basi itaelekeza ibe. Sasa because of poverty driven society, so you find that most of them they commit those type of crimes, the stealing, robbing, and they join the old people to rob, and they are used for trafficking, they are used for wrong ways. You see, just because they are vulnerable, not because of the families. Ile mwelekeo tunajua kwamba mwanaume ni kutafuta. Sasa tunaanza kuelekeza watoto wetu wakiwa wadogo. Hata unasikia mama anaambia mtoto mdogo wa 13, "Mbona unaketi hapa? Siende utafute." Na ni mtoto wa miaka 13 au mtoto wa 15. Surely. Forced kuiba yes. Kwa sababu ataenda kutafuta kazi gani? Unaona? Sasa unapata kwamba hiyo inawaingiza kwa jela.
Yeah. Okay. You've mentioned about amri, and I would like maybe Mr. Kiarie to tell us a bit, is it how watoto hawajalelewa ndio na baba zao wengine ambao sasa ni wanandoa mama zao na baba zao wakatengana, so they don't have someone to give them commands that they can follow surely. Yeah. So what do you think of having such a sports team, for instance? How do you control them as a team?
Okay, as a team,
yes.
First we say sports is the glue that fuels conversation. Alafu tena tunasema sports is the universal language. And we say this because we have seen, for example, a bank manager and a hooker and a 15-year-old wakishabikia team moja. The emotions are the same. So in terms of sports, we say sports bring people together. It is the one thing that makes Eliud Kipchoge, when he runs, we are all Kenyans.
Yes.
We are all, tunasema, no human is limited. All Kenyans, we say the same thing. Now back to children. As they are growing, remember they are very energized.
Yes.
You know, so if there is one area where you can get them all together, it is on a sporting venue, the football, for example. And in those football engagements, that is the one place where certain characters and behaviors zinajitokeza. If there's someone in the playing field who is not a team player, is indisciplined, it reflects perhaps on their character, even back from home, labda. You see. Number two, we have coaches, teammates. If there's someone who consistently misses training, kwa mfano, someone who is aggressive during play, red card, and a fall watu, then perhaps those are small telltale signs that people start picking up within the community. So sports is that one tool. Again, on the sporting end, we also have gender balance, because sports being universal, it cuts across gender. Many boys, especially pale mtaani, many hizi matimu za mtaani, it is their mothers and sisters who come to watch their sons and brothers play.
Yes.
Usually. And there's something Madam Hemba amesema, I think the gap between men and women inaanzanga kutokelezea hapo. Because kama kijana hana viatu za kucheza, ule mtu yuko pale kwa kiwanja, the person he's seen is the mother. You see? And then 3, the communication between now the boys in the field, now kitoka, they start having a divide. Kitambo, we used to have men take their boys to city stadium.
Yes.
You know, like, mimi na kijanangu tumeenda kuona mpira. So those small factors increasingly tunaona men are no longer there. There's that gap. So unajipata, you know, it comes in. Last is about the school education. For the longest tumekuwa na PE. We used to call it PE. Physical education. Physical education. Physical education was actually part of the timetable. You know, like maths, English, PE, it was part. But along the way, we also lost a bit of the sporting end to masomo. We said PE is a waste of time. Ama tulisema badala ya PE tufanye double maths.
Exactly. Mwalimu wa maths anachukua lesson ya PE.
Mwalimu wa maths anakuja anachukua lesson ya PE.
Yes.
Now, what that did also, it also disadvantaged the growing youth. Because back then in the 70s and 80s, a lot of the people who were driven towards sports, they actually excelled academically. There is a correlation. Perhaps the best swimmers ended up being also the best class. You see, you know, the best, because I think it's also, it's the, I think, ecosystem we are all growing up, the sporting, you know, your mind is mentally. So crime, so now where juvenile crime started in is because that time when they were doing the many sports, their idol. Manake pia kijana kicheza mpira kutoka saa 2 ikifika saa 7 akienda kwa nyumba analala.
Yes.
Hana maneno mingi. Blackout hana maneno mingi. So those are the small contributing factors where over a period of time tunajipata tuko na the sports we are trying to drum to them, but the environment has moved away from engaging. Nitamalizia kwa kusema about the public utilities and facilities. From the village, we used to have a big open field ya watoto kucheza. There was nothing else people used to do in the village. Watoto wanakimbia all over. Huku in the estates, we used to have playing grounds. Actually, people grew up in Nairobi in the 70s and 80s. They had social halls. Jericho Social Hall, Karioko Social Hall. So, you know, so people grew up in that kind of environment, and you found that crime, getting yourself into juvenile pressure
is easy.
Inaenda chini. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Kiarie. Madam Mary, maybe nirudi kwako. You mentioned still on amri na kufuata amri. Je, hawa watoto wakiwa in those detention centers, is it easy for you people to control them? And if so, do they have rights in place, and do they stand up for their rights?
One, when they come to our institutions, and we don't call them detention centers, we call them correction centers.
Okay. Yes.
Because they are there for correction. They come to be corrected. And that is why we are saying, when they come there, we have set programs for them. And that's how we manage them. Because they come knowing we are inside here, and when they arrive, we tell them you are here, not for punishment, not for anything else, but just to be corrected. Because you have a chance. You made your mistake, yes, accept that you made your mistake and you are here to be corrected. Sasa hiyo ndio huwa tunaanza na wao. You just know that you are here for correction. And then we take them through the programs. Kwa sababu tuna programs nyingi ambazo huwa tumewapangia. Wanapokuja tunawaambia kwanza kuna education program. Hiyo program ni most of them we engage them in education program. Kwa nini? Kwa sababu wengi will drop out in school. Most of the kids who come to our institutions, they have dropped out either in class 6 or 7. Alafu utapata kwamba kuna wengine wame drop out from 1 and 2. So when they come, we have programs for, they come and do, those who didn't do KCPE, they come and do KCPE. in our institutions. And those who dropped out in secondary, we also realized that we need to develop, to introduce Form 1 to Form 4, whereby they come and they're not engaged in, they go in Form 1, Form 2, Form 3, na tukiweza tuna make sure wanafanya Form 4. Why we are doing that is that some of them come from poor families. Sasa hata kulipa hiyo masomo wakifaa secondary inakuwa ngumu. So we say, why don't you take opportunity? You're here, you get free education, which we are paying for, just in the name of helping you become like anybody else in the community. So secondly, there are those who come and they are not interested in masomo. Si kila mtu anapenda kusoma. Wengine wanakuja wanasema, mimi sitaki mambo ya shule. Na walikataa shule, sasa wanasema mimi afadhali nifanye anything else. So we have carpentry, we have masonry, we have plumbing, we have electrical, we have tailoring, we have, for the girls, we have crocheting, we have all these hands-on skills that we empower them with. So that when they leave the institution, they are able to do something for themselves. Because we realize they have some gaps in their lives. And even then, we always interview them to see where their gaps are. We just don't engage them. Ati kwa sababu wamekuja sasa tunamwambia wewe utaingia shule ama wewe utaingia carpentry ama utapana, tuna discuss na tunawakubaliana na wanaandika agreement. Mimi ninaenda shule, mimi ninaenda carpentry, mimi in the process nitafanya hands on. Some of them introduce this hands on, maybe making soap, ice cream, all this baking, these things that they can go outside there and start their lives.
So you nurture their talents.
You nurture their small talents that are there so that they grow. We also have sports, the way he has said. Sports to us is like mandatory. Every day they engage those who are interested, and we have just one day every week we have the sports day. Wacha sasa ile shule wamekataa ati wataki watoto waende shule, as we have, it's part of the program, because we realize that they need that for them to be physically strong. We have programs like talent development. We have realized that these boys are very much talented. Sasa kuna wale tunawa introduce kwa vitu ambavyo vinaitwa sakata, drama, dancing, all this, because as you say, we just want to nurture their talents. And more so, we want to develop their self-esteem. You know, most of them kuja wanajipata kwamba wako chini sana. It's like I'm neglected by my parents, and most of them also, they have been stigmatized by their family. So huwa unasikia katika familia kuna ile black sheep ya familia. Huyo ni black sheep. And you know, mama anasema tu, mtoto anasikia kwamba huyo hata ukimpeleka shule asomi, hata ukifanyia nini hataweza. You know, they don't know that they are fixing this child to that. Mdomo unapotamka unakondemu. Sasa mtoto anajua tu, si mamangu anajua mimi sijui kusoma. So we want to uplift them. We tell them you are good. You have ability, you have potential, you have everything that can make you better. We have agriculture. Wanaenda kwa mashamba wanasoma. We keep livestock. We do all these programs that they can be able to learn to make their lives better. So our management actually is done through programming. Yani tunawapa programs ambazo wanafanya wakiamka asubuhi, mtu anajua nenda shule, ninaenda vocation, naenda hii, naenda hii. Now one thing, we also respect their rights. We don't do anything to harm them. No beating, no what. Ati tunawatumia kama watoto, hapana. We respect their human rights. We make sure they live well, they sleep well. Like in the Boston institutions, they have beds, they watch television. We have libraries, they can read. We have visitors who come and see them. We have entertainers, we have everything. What we have done now in our institutions, that tunajaribu sana ziwe kama institutions zile za nje. And I want to tell you now that when we go to drama, ukienda institution yetu kama ya Boston, ya Kakamega, we always number 1. We lead outside in the region, in the county. Sisi tunakuwa either number 1 or number 2 in our institutions. We lead those outside schools. And then we go, we come, we know where nationals are. We always reach nationals in drama, in choir, be it in Shikusa or Shimo, those institutions. So I want to say that we are trying to make our institutions better, because we say environment promotes change. Good environment promotes change. Ukiwa na environment nzuri, utaishi maisha mazuri. Ukiwa na environment mbaya, you won't grow, you won't live a happy life. So what we want is just for them to be happy and to change.
Yes.
And that's where we are coming from. Yes.
Yeah, it seems like you have a lot of activities in the prisons, and I really wanted to know, you've mentioned matters regarding self-esteem, mtoto maybe in black sheep kwa nyumba.
Yes.
So akifika kule, is there a program for him or her regarding maybe his mental state?
Yes.
Maybe is there a doctor who speaks to them, or maybe a psychologist, anybody?
That's one area that we make sure it is mainstreamed. Counseling is mandatory. Counseling. We have psychologists, have counselors who work with them. Because as much as they are doing whatever they are doing, they are human beings. You know, even youth have emotions. You know where people forget that watoto wadogo hawana emotions, they don't. But if you can now realize what's happening in our community today, people are discovering that youth have emotions, they have mind, they have thinking, they are doing this.
That's
because
why
of the reactions.
crime offenders.
Yes, the reactions that are coming now. And that's why they are committing the many crimes they do. So we make sure that we deal with their emotions, their mindsets, we want them to change. You know, some of them that have been taught that there's easy life. Unaenda tu unaiba na una survive. But while there we tell them hard work pays. Ukichoka ni ya haki na hakuna mtu atakushika ama atakufanya chochote kama umetumia nguvu zako na bidii yako. So we also train them to be responsible, to be accountable, to be positive in life. So we take them through motivational talks. Motivational talks, they are cancelled because some of them are so distressed, very distressed when they come. And most of them, may I tell you here today, and parents and the men should hear, most of the boys in the institutions, they blame their fathers. They have very poor relationship with their fathers. Yeah, they have a feeling their father have let them down. Yeah, and unajua mara nyingi unapata kwamba mzazi anasema huyu naye amefuata mamake or mamake amemwaribu. But in the true sense, mothers they are sympathizers, which is not very good. Sometimes we sympathize too much. But we also believe that if we have a firm father, yeah, things can also be corrected. So it's like the boys in the institutions feel, if my father would have been firm, or if my father was there, maybe my life would not be the same. If we have three types of fathers now we have discovered when we are working with these children, and I keep telling them. The first father, the father is there and yet he is absent.
Absent father. Yes.
Absent father. In the sense that hata akija pale hakuna chochote anafanya. Yuko tu hapo. Unaona? And then number two, we have parents who are very, very hostile parents. Hostile in the sense that they are very harsh. Where mtoto kijana akisikia tu babake anagonga mlango, anaingia mahali anajificha.
So harshness with regards to violence.
Yes, sort of, not, yeah, they are violent. Yani anagurumia mtoto sana. You know, watoto ni wagurumie, yes, but also give them a hearing.
Okay.
Yeah. And lastly, we have parents who are drug and substance abusers. Mzazi anakuja lakini yeye ni mlevi forever. You see? So he's there, but he's a drunk person. You know, he doesn't help. Yeye anaonyesha kijana yake kwamba kukunywa ni mzuri. Because that is what the son is see. Baba anakuja kila siku ni mlevi, ni vita, mlevi, anapiga mamake, anafanya nini. So you see those type of parents, they are not very helpful. And they really destroy the boy child, especially the boy child. And even the girl. You know, girls also learn that this is, you know, fighting could be like the normal lifestyle. So you find that in the future when they get married, when they are beaten, they don't raise their heads. They say, my mother used to be beaten, and I saw her just feeling happy and feeling like it is normal. You see? Yeah. So the normality which should be fought becomes accepted as the norm, which is not right. So you find that those type of things in the adolescent have really hurt our children. And as in the institution, we try to remove all this and tell them, you are able, you can lead very good lives, so long as you mend it yourself. Yeah, don't follow people. not that you expect everything from your parents. Some will give you good things. Some you can learn from us. You can learn from the environment and pick what you think can be useful. So in our institutions, we really focus on those aspects that you can get the knowledge, you can get skills, and you can change your behavior while you are with us.
And now, madam, just to ask, because hapo nimesikia the agenda, there are boys and there are girls. In Kenya today, how many juvenile institutions are there? Na ni ngapi za boys na ni ngapi za girls?
We have quite a number of juvenile institutions. Some are for probation, and some are for prisons. Probation, there are quite also a number, but you find that mostly the probation, some more of them, of course, are for boys. But I don't know the number for the probation. Maybe you have said there are 4 or something.
And why is that?
And for us, we stayed for a very long time without a hostel for girls. So we used to also have a hostel for boys too. And then people were asking, Kwani, what happens? It's only the boys who commit crimes?
Exactly.
Or what happens to these girls? Yeah, but I want to say that most of the boys actually commit crimes more than the girls. Even now when you have the one hostel we have, the girls are very few compared to the boys.
And
yeah.
are they more controllable? Like, can you control them better than you control boys? Or do they also rebel and not follow protocol, for instance?
No, those youth in our institutions don't rebel. They're just good boys. When they're in our hands, they are their best. Wezi pata a child that anakuwa rebellious, anafanya nini, contrary, because you know they are under guidance and there are laws that they follow when they are in our institutions. So they just follow the laws. Yeah, some of them follow the laws until it becomes like normal to them, and that is what we want. Yeah, because they realize that discipline is what is there, and our institutions are full of discipline. Discipline is number one. Yeah, when you're told to do something, you do it. Yeah. You don't ask how or why.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. But again, I'm sorry to be the devil's advocate here,
yes.
Madam. Ama labda sababu mimi ni boy child hapa.
Yes.
Naona niko locked between the girl child. But kitambo, when you're growing up, there used to be this narrative that boys are taken to boarding schools for discipline. Girls are taken to boarding schools for mentorship.
Yes, to learn life.
To learn life.
Yes.
Na pale mtaani, na ndio maana nimesema I'm the devil's advocate. Pale mtaani, we used to have this feeling. Even my mom alikuwa akisema, nikifika study 6, waki nisumua kupeleka boarding. It was a veiled threat. So the idea was, boarding school na boys, it's a discipline.
Yes.
So inherently, we grew up knowing that boys are inherently indisciplined. Who needed to be disciplined.
Yes.
Girls were taken to boarding school. Waondoke vijana.
Una escape watoke kwa vijana.
Watoke kwa vijana. Waende for mentorship.
Yes.
So playing the devil's advocate here. Don't you think that is perhaps some of the areas where the gender equity pale tulianza kukua na still mgawanyiko because vijana, and most of us went to boarding school. When we went to boarding school, when we came back for holidays, the first comments mzazi anakuwa akisema umerekebika,
umejua maisha.
Sisi umejua maisha. So then it meant okay, kwa hivyo you are being chiseled by being taken to boarding school.
Yes.
Now back to where we are now. Manake now we also have a boy, because Madam amesema the number of boys ni wengi kuliko the number of girls.
Yes, so maybe it has fueled the boys to do more crime.
Yeah, so I'm just trying to bring out that ama labda ile kusemekana that you are indisciplined inherently, labda pia the boy akifika 13, 14, after all mami usema
nini
niko hivi.
Lazima niende hapa ndo
lazima, you see. And number 2, just to play devil's advocate again, people say yes, children follow what they see, not what they hear. Vile ndio umesema kama baba ni mlevi, they follow what they see. especially boys, and it is a fact.
Yes.
Okay, but now, in the same tone and breath, and fueled by poverty, we are seeing increasingly a lot of what is called child labor.
Yeah.
Kuna vijana wengi ukienda mtaani, hao ndio wanapatiwa njugu wauze, au ndio unasikia mama amekwambia mimi nimekenda maji ugali, hebu katafute mboga. You know, so and perhaps katika kutafuta, because that's what I'm getting to, katika kutafuta mboga, unajua pia ndio ataingia katika sehemu na shughuli harakati za up down
za kufanya vitu vibaya.
Now my question to you, madam, is a bit more directed to how you deal with the parents of your clients, because the truth of the matter is some of the parents, they're the ones who might have led their children ile kutafuta mboga led him to be manake msikia mama manake dada yake anafanya homework. So question is, madam, how do you engage the parents of your clients? How juvenile mekuja?
That's a very good question. You know, we realize that as much as we work with these boys or girls without engaging the parents, we are not solving the problem. Because most of the juvenile crimes emanate from the way they are treated in their homes, as you say. You know, the way the statements that the parents make, very important. The narratives, ile statement, vile tu unasema, kijana wewe kazi yako ni hii, na msichana wangu wewe ukae hapa. You know, from our bringing, we normally safeguarded the girl child, safeguarding the child from the boys. You see, but that now made the boy to feel like msichana anapendwa, na mimi ndio nadhulumiwa kila wakati. Wewe kijana nenda hapa, John nenda hapa. Hata utasikia kwa nyumba. Sasa wewe umeacha tu huyu amekaa hapo na unanituma mimi kila wakati. That mentality has been there, but we feel it is the one that has really created that gap, that issue of the boy child getting into more bad or criminal behavior more than the girl, because the boy child is open into more aggressive activities, and the girl child is protected. So what I would say is that most of what we do is that we have an open day for parents to come.
Okay.
When the parents come, now we talk to them. We tell them, we have worked with John up to this level, and we have discovered 1, 2, 3 about John. What we want is for you to give him support. You know, what you need to appreciate is that some parents feel like huyu mtoto tormenting in the sense that unajua unaweza kuwa na mtoto ambaye anafanya makosa mpaka unashinda mtoto utamtupa wapi. Have you heard a mother saying huyu mtoto kama angekuwa uwezo ningemmeza? You know, I return that child to my stomach because amekuwa mtoto yani mtukutu kiasi. Unaona? So when these children come to our place, when the parents come, they don't believe that this child is changed. You know, they just feel, no, he's pretending. So what we do is that we tell them, please, this child, everything has got a time. This boy has actually changed. If you can start looking at him from this perspective, you'll make him a different person. But if you don't believe in him, he'll go back and commit crime. So can you accept the change that he is showing? Rather than not refusing the change. So we engage the parents to share the behavior, to share the changes, to share what they have done, and we ask the parents to support. Yeah, because we know that change for the children cannot just be one-sided. Yeah, it has to be like teamwork. So as at the institution we have done our bit, then the parents have to do their bit. So that's how we engage them. And some parents have really learned a lot. Even some have regretted. They say, I realize I'm the one who drove my son to make those mistakes. And they even apologize to the children and tell them, we are sorry, we accept, na sisi hatutabeba yale mabaya, tunakubali vile ulivyo. Yeah, and then we want to help you. Yes.
Mpenzi mtazamaji, bila shaka ni mengi tumejulishwa hapa, na tumeangalia kuwa nukta ya kwanza ni hatutaki kuita hizi centers detention centers, rather we will call them correctional centers or correction centers. Na tumesema kuwa these crimes are mostly driven by the parents nyumbani, yani hamujalea watoto labda tuseme kwa uzuri, pengine those absent fathers, violent or harsh fathers, and the drug abusing fathers, it's not a good picture to paint or to kulea mtoto. So maybe we start from our end as parents, or from their end as parents, to nurture these children and to always be there for them and correct them if they're wrong. Tutaenda mapumziko mafupi mpenzi mtazamaji, lakini usibambuke, tutarejea baada ya muda mfupi.
Introducing Huda TV mobile application. It comes packed with all our programs, loaded with features you can't afford to miss on your mobile handset. You can now keep track of your prayer timings, calculate your zakah. Your closeness to Allah is even more closer with the adhkar. Most of all, we live stream everything from the application. Go to Google Play Store to install and get the full benefit of Huda mobile, with you everywhere you go.
Kauli za busara.
Dhahabu haina thamani ndani ya ardhi. Methali hii hutumiwa kuwakumbusha watu faida za kuwa na uwazi katika mambo yao. Ikiwa mtu ana rai ambayo yaweza kumfaidi rafiki yake au jamii kwa jumla, ni vyema aidhihirishe, kwani kuificha moyoni mwake haitamfaidi mtu yoyote. Maneno mazuri ni kama dhahabu, na dhahabu haina thamani ndani ya ardhi.
Kauli za busara.
Karibuni tena katika segment ya pili ya nasaha kwa umma, na tulivyosema katika segment ya kwanza tunaangazia mada yetu ambayo ni Juvenile Rehabilitation Centers. Na pamoja na mimi kwa studio nikiwa introduce pengine tena ni Bwana Kiarie na Madam Mary, ambao we are very honored to have in our studio today. And tukiendelea na mada yetu, tumewachia mahala ambapo tumesema kuwa, nikichukulia pengine nukta ndogo ndogo, tumesema kuwa kuna hizi open days available for the crime offenders, na mainly the juvenile centers. So kama viewers ama kwa faida ya watazamaji nyumbani, ningependa kujua what are the feelings during these open days? Are they emotional? Je, huwa inarudisha watoto nyuma? Do they regret? Do they have feelings of resentment maybe to these centers with regards to them having these open days?
I want to say that most of the children are very happy when they are visited by their parents. Very happy. We have not had any negative feeling when the parents come. They really look forward to the visit. In fact, wakati wanasikia wazazi wanakuja, wanafurahi, because
and how many times do you put the open days?
Mostly we have it just once a year. Once a year. And mostly when they are like 6 months to getting released, because we want them to reconcile, to discuss about their progress, because what we want is the parents to appreciate that their kids have been processed, wamerekebika, na ni watoto ambao ni wazuri kwa sasa. Alafu sasa tunawaelekeza kusema kwamba they are ready kufanya mitihani. Kama wenye wanafanya trade test, tunawaambia in 3 months time wanafanya mtihani, ama kama wale wanangoja kufanya form 4, tunawaambia hawa sasa wametosha, wanafanya mtihani wa KCPE ama form 4. Most of the time they are very, very, very happy people. I want to say that not all of them are visited. Some of them, the parents refuse to come. Yeah, they refuse to come.
Do they get demoralized?
Of course, they feel very frustrated, but then what we have done is that we also know how to handle them. We know how to handle them for them to really, it will destabilize them for the few days they will be there. But after talking to them, counseling them, they accept it. And some of them don't come because they have refused, because sometimes the distance and maybe poverty level, somebody coming from Isiolo all the way to Western, it's not very easy, it's very expensive. Yes. So you find that some parents, whatever, they don't come. But these days, because of also digital na masimu, kama ni parent alikosa kuja kwa sababu ya fare there, we tell them to talk to the children on phone. Yeah, so we call, and then anaongea na mtoto wake, anamuencourage. Anamwambia, mimi sikukataa kuja, mimi nakupenda mtoto wangu, na nataka tuongee, nataka tu uniambie uko namna gani, unaendeleaje, na ni nini ungependa nijue, na ni nini ungependa nikusaidie, kwa sababu najua kwamba karibu unakuja. So we link them up with the parents to talk over phone. But those open days are very good. Very, very good.
NASAHA, just talking about open days, because you have correctly said, open days are not usually 6 months before release. Now, there is something about environmental. Let's say ulitoka katika this environment that was not very good, pale kijijini, like they are very, like ghetto and slums, they are very, very harsh environment. Umetoka huko umeenda 3 years, umerekebika, you have gone through the programs, all that. There's a risk, and a risk of ukitoka, you go back to the same environment because your parents have not moved from the ghetto. Kama ni, pale ilifanyika.
Na hawaja progress kabisa.
Na hawaja progress really. But, and your same friends and your same circles of your, the same circle of environment, is it? I'm sure them, by themselves, wamerekebika, and they really want to, they're really looking forward to change and all. I'm sure, madam, the environment can also hamper your very good work. Yeah, are there some of the mitigation? Because the truth is, hata ukiniachilia na nirudi pale gate, napo ndo nilitoa tabia.
We always work with probation officers, because those are our link people in the community, the probation, because they are the ones who work with the parents, and the one who work in the community. So before the child is released, they have to write a report to us. And tell us the home environment. How is it? Is it conducive
for them, yes,
for the boy to come back? Kuna wakati tumedefer cases because of the harsh environment. Because the probation ameandika akasema, looking at the environment kwa sasa vile iko, if we release this child is likely to reoffend. So can we defer his case or her case until when we have established that anaweza kuenda kwa environment ambayo ni nzuri. So that's how we work, and it has helped us because probation officers are the link people. Kama ni mbaya tunasema wacha tukae na yeye akijaribu kuangalia the environment vile hivyo. Kama ni parent anasema yeye hataki huyo mtoto, tuna defer mpaka probation pia aongee na mzazi, aone kwamba huyo mzazi ni mtoto ni wake, atamkubali. So we don't just release them without checking the home environment, so that we are informed how favorable it is. If it's unfavorable, we still continue holding the child until when the environment is favorable, and that is because they are the juveniles.
So tumesema kuwa these juveniles, they're children under the age of 17.
Yes.
So is there an instance you've gotten maybe a child who is probably 10 years old, and how are his programs the same as those who are 16? Yeah, or are they being bullied, or is there like strict protocol to be followed with maybe over 15 and under 15?
When we look at the juvenile, most of the probation are the ones who hold. But even probation, their boys, their children are between 15 to 18. The other children department holds those are the ones who hold 15, 10 and below, because those are actually children.
Yes.
So most of the children department hold them as either they go there for rescue, they go there to get support, they go there for some other help. But us, there's no time we have gotten a child of below 15. Rarely. Even if they come when they are 14, at times we fight against it, but we say because the boy has come, we can hold. So we rarely get, the least we have gotten is 14, but not below 14 in our institutions.
And what about pale mtaani tunasemanga graduation? Pale kwa lugha utani, we call it graduation because uni msichana ama ni kijana went at 15, came out at 17 through the juvenile, the program, the prison. Alipofika 18, they commit a crime. But this time, because now they are adults, hawatarudishwa juvenile. No, to the prison, ile jela ya kawaida. Now, there are instances where people graduate, as you call it pale mtaani. Ulitoka juvenile, umeshindwa kukaa na community, ama things have happened, or umeenda to peer pressure, and you go back to the main prison. Madam, do you have a lot of those cases? What is the percentage, and how do you deal with now those kind of people? Because now clearly kurekebika inaonekana it's a bit
difficult for the person.
Difficult for the person.
What measures do you take?
Because sasa ametoka juvenile, ameingia main prison because they have committed a crime,
an offense.
Yes, an offense.
When we witness very few cases,
okay,
the percentage is very small, very small. We are happy about that because most of the children, very few boys graduate into maximum institution, and they don't graduate there and then. Most of them do it maybe when they reach 21, 22 or something like that. So they go back to the community. They stay in the community for at least 2 or 3 years. If life becomes challenging, then they drift into crime. Then they are taken to maximum institutions. But even us following up of such a cases is very rare. So we don't know. There could be many, but we rarely follow. And even then we have never had the maximum institution which says this boy was from Boston. We have not had. Yeah, only here. There's one recently, the one we had who committed a crime. Yeah, but he was in Boston. After around 3 or 4 years, he committed a crime. I think he's in remand. He's waiting for whatever. But they are rare. Yeah, our success. I want to say that our success rates in Boston are very good, very high. Yeah, we can't complain.
That's very amazing to hear. And also regarding that issue, do you do a follow-up on their lives after prison, after maybe the juvenile centers?
Okay.
Yeah, do you follow up? Maybe does this child have a normal life? Does he continue with studies? Is he able to get employment? Because we know about the stigma that's involved with this child being out of prison and kungangana na maisha.
Okay, what helps us that every time we have in prison, in Boston's, in our Boston institutions, we have what we call a board of review that reviews the children before release. So what we have put in place is that we always want the probation officers, every time they are coming for that meeting, they report to us the development of the children who have passed postal. So they'll come and read for us and tell us, okay, if this number is in secondary, this number is attached to a mechanic, or this number is attached with this, or this one is doing other things. You know, most of them, you know, juvenile are dynamic in the sense that they go with what they want, they get. Wakitoka hapo mtu ametrain vocational, akitoka nje anaanza kuuza sabuni, anafanya hawking, anafanya kila anafanya. But so long as they are safe outside the community, as we have no problem. So you find the probation officers always report to us and tell us, okay, huyu ako mahali fulani anaendelea vizuri, huyu ako mahali fulani anaendelea vizuri. We requested that because we wanted to make a follow up, and as we can't do it in prison, we make it, we do it through probation. So they give us a report. And we have to say we're not doing very badly. They report to us every quarterly, telling us, oh, so and so is doing something, where he's doing. We have so many who are in high school, who have gone to Form 1, Form 2. We have Boston boys who have, some who are in the army. They have gone in the army. Some are in university. They have gone well.
Okay. Talking about because we need to touch on the COVID-19 because now we are 15 months kutoka March last year when we first had the case, and the truth of the matter is there's been changes in family setup. COVID imekuja na a whole new watu wanasemanga default setting. Maisha came back to default. Tuliona walimu, tuliona parents were being forced now to stay with their children for 10 months. Madam, it's the hardest thing.
For parents.
For parents. Maana sasa sisi tumezoea body na nenda April anakuja anatusumbua, August anakaa na mwalimu.
Sasa hata wewe unasema wanasumbua.
Oh my, sasa mwana mimi sasa nimejamusha. Now COVID imekuja. Sisi wazazi tumesumbuliwa na watoto mpaka tunasema Mangoha anasema it's back to school, tunasema haya rudi shule finally. But now we go and give the teacher more problems because psychologically and a lot of issues tumetupa mtoto kwa mwalimu. So you have, because you also say, and I think and they also want to say in a whisper, parents are being lazy, tunasema mtoto ni wa mwalimu. Now 3 issues have come up regarding the youth during the COVID-19 pandemic. One of them is adolescent crime. Tulisoma kwa magazeti sometime last year where vijana, mostly boys again, wameanza this petty crime. This is a plot, which is mtaani. This adolescent crime, which was fueled again by idleness, kukaa nyumbani. You know, the whole COVID last year, it was a bit unpredictable.
Yes.
So adolescent crime was on the rise. Number 2, the rise in teenage pregnancies. In fact, there was a joke about it where 4,000, I mean, a high number, an unusually high number of girls.
Some of rape victims.
Some of rape victims. Some juile to idleness na mtaani na nini. So those are the still youth. The other 3 is come January, low academic transition. Unajua sio kila mtu alirudi shule.
Wengi walikuwa nje
mpaka saa hii. I know you're not talking about it very much, but the truth of the matter is pale mtaani there are those hawajarudi shule. And those 3 things, those 3 examples, it gives rise to vulnerabilities. Adolescent crime, teenage pregnancies.
Yes.
Because sasa a girl 16 years pregnant, mama yake amemwambia enda kaishi na boyfriend / well, 2, a girl now is sasa anataka kutafuta sasa nitafanya nini because kulea mtoto, you know, and all that. So those are vulnerabilities to crime, you know. Those are hizo nini. Ya 3 na what I want to get as 2 ni low transition to education. Ukweli wa mambo pale between Mlango Kubwa na Huruma roundabout, jioni between 4:30 na 6, wale hawkers wako hapo, wale vijana wako hapo ni watoto. It is a fact. Hapa nini? It is a fact. Jogoo Road between Hamza Nile Junction Donholm roundabout, jioni njugu, masks nini ni watoto. So even as we deal with the whole juvenile situation, there is a whole community. Na mimi mbona sasa nimejistaki already hapa, nimesema wananisumbua. There is a whole community as parents whom we also need an honest conversation with, because tena tuwezi waachia kazi yote. And that's the truth.
Yes, you can't.
You see, ya mwisho is about the HIV/AIDS statistics. They are very worrying.
They're increasing.
First, National AIDS Control Council said the new infection rate, new zile mpya, the highest number is between 15 and 24. That is not a good statistic for health. Na tunasema the youth ndio tunategemeo ya kesho, youth ndio Vision 2030, youth ndio vijana wa kesho.
You're right.
So when you talk about those four, and even with all the good programs
in place,
the institution has, I think we also need to use this forum to also get back to the parents, to the guardians, and to the community. Because otherwise, madam, utahema sana.
Overwhelmed.
You'll be clearly overwhelmed, madam. Sababu, we cannot then say that akikosea, si tumesikia kuna program, education, sijui TVET, sijui nini, siende huko, na kuna chakula ya bure, tumesema to they give food. No, because that's the thinking of so I'm also just trying to contribute and also say, it is also for us as parents and guardians
to play the part.
To play our part in the juvenile, in the growing youth. What and wait a growing youth?
Yeah, growing youth,
because
juvenile.
Not juvenile, growing youth. Because one, the threat to radicalization is real. We talk about it because the government has said it, and we know the youth are the target. It is a fact. Yes. Number two, once you have a situation where the youth are becoming to some hopelessness, that's to use that word politely, the youth are being led to hopelessness. Yet they are not seeing a better tomorrow. They are not seeing a future. We get them to what we are calling cybercrime. Cybercrime, I think squeezy hakuna youth hana simu. I mean youth squeezy simu simu haiwezekani. Hata ukisimama kwa stage it's part. Hata huyu dadangu hapa akishuka ende matatu stage apate hana simu anarudi kwa nyumba. Lazima. So I think for the society and for the community tusiwaachie.
Ni ukweli. And also touching on the stigmatization, I would really like to know from your side, Mr. Kiarie, tuseme your boss maybe from in a certain institution and an ex-convict has come for an application of a job. From your side, I'll say from my side, kama mimi mwanamke nyumbani tuseme mfano, na mfanyikazi amekuja na nikiangalia history yake napata she's an ex-convict, my first resort and my reaction, I would be like, she will steal things. Atachafua nyumba yangu, ataharibu kila kitu. Yes. So with regards to you, Mr. Kiarie, how would you handle that situation from your own point of view?
It is a situation that we have handled. Tuanzie hapo because as Fariji, they are my brothers. Tunakuanga huko ndani, tumecheza nao mpira huko ndani, tumeengage huko ndani, tumewapelekea watoto wao Valentine huko ndani, tumekuwa na boy child program huko ndani. Wakitoka, you are right. The first, there is that stigma. But I'm also happy to say, and commend Madam hapa, my sister, the stigma, it's becoming less. And one, I want to believe in sababu ya those visitations. Because the family also gets a chance to be visiting them regularly. So I think Kitambo they are not there. I also want to believe that. But pia, number two, a lot of people are also getting themselves into not crime, into those kind of situations where kijana wako ameshikwa yuko police station, mama amepigiwa simu ameenda kutoa kijana jela. You know, increasingly we having those kind of conversations. Curfew ni saa 2, unajuanga youth ni mang'aa. Saa 2 wanashikwa. So mzazi anakimbia. So because of all that, akitoka jela, there is that feeling like ni kama ametoka polisi. Yani the conversations have become lighter. Si kama kitambo. Kitambo kulikuwa na a whole engagement. Ya mwisho, and no, related to that also, ni parents na community hawafichi.
Yes. We
have had situations pale mtaani where mtu alitoka jela, kwanza kapeleka ushago. Afichwe. Ama kayo ile afichwe hiyo 1 year, nini anaenda kulima. Sasa, so tunajuanga fulani alitoka. Lakini alienda yuko Kakamega analima, ama yuko Kangema analima, after 6-8 months anarudi. Ama tukae huko tunaona alifungua ka M-Pesa anapiga picha nini. So but nowadays even the brothers and the community, they are bold enough to say ni wetu. I think that's also helped.
Yes.
Ni kijana wetu, is my son, is my brother. Hiyo pia inasaidia, and that is where wakikuja mtaani hawaendi. Now media has also helped. Because last week, for example, hapa tu kwa hii station, we had the Willis Opondo Nandi. Jina la mtatu namuita Stitches. Stitches came, alikuja hapa, he opened up, akapatiana story yake, akasema amerekebika. So nowadays they are also getting out, and that also is also helping. Because unajua kitambo ingekuwa
sasa at least there is hope.
Sasa naenda kwa TV kuambia watu sasa
it's private.
It's private. Like, you see, it's private. Lakini sasa just by them coming to a station like this and by just talking about it, I believe it's part of your program ile kuongea.
Inasaidia sana recidivism
isikue. Yeah, because I think you kuongea.
Yeah, inasaidia sana.
Inasaidia sana. So I think those are the kind of key factors. Ningependa kusema it is really helping. And isitoshe, there are some who come out and their girlfriends whom they left when they went in, they are there for them. We have a case right now. Hata madam hajui, nitamwambilia hapa. Alikuwa captain wa Committee United pale ndani, alitoka 2019. Alikuja, girlfriend yake akampata. He's a proud father of a baby. Alipata mtoto anaitwa Eric Wawero. He used to be a client for 14 years.
What?
Yes.
That was good.
So you see, so those are success stories. You see, and that's a success story by itself. You see. So hii ni kumaanisha alikubalika kabisa. Yeah.
Before we take another break, another 2-minute break, maybe Madam Mary, you could explain a little about the common crimes that majority of the youth commit that lead them to the correctional centers.
Most of the common crimes is stealing. Yes, they steal. That is just stealing, burglary. Right now, those are, if I look on the percentage, when normally I'm analyzing the list of the boys we are releasing, the highest percentage is stealing. They steal a lot, a bit of, let me say, defilement now it's also rising, which I'm very scared about. They are doing a lot of defilement. Previously, we used to have substance abuse, which is also another number 3, and then those are the ranges that we really have. First is stealing, but it's not like robbery with violence. It's just stealing, this normal thuggery. They steal from the parents, they steal from the neighbors. Those are the common things that they do. And when we were analyzing our data, we realized that this informs us one thing, is that there is high rate of poverty. Because these boys are making this because they want to survive. And that what we also need to appreciate, that most of the boys, the young people, commit survival crimes. We call them survival.
So no cases of murder?
Very few cases of murder, very few. If murder, maybe one. Defilement now, they are rising, as I told you, because of the issue of, I don't know, now that he's talking about the adolescent, this idea of pregnancies. You know, you find a boy who is 16 and she's having a relationship with somebody who is 15, but when they are found, the boy is brought it to a rehab. Now the girl is told to continue with school. You continue masomo. Kijana wewe umedefile uende wapi? Boston. So those areas of Juliet and Romeo, because to me those are Juliet and Romeo.
It's when true. That's why Islam actually encourages marriage.
Yes.
Yes. Yeah. First marriage, so that mutaona venye mtangangana.
Mutajipanga.
Yes, because you've decided, you've put yourself in the situation.
Yes.
So grow out of it.
Yourselves.
Yeah.
So those are the things that mostly happen. Yeah, those common crimes.
Okay. Yes, thank you. Dear viewers, we will like to go for another break. Musitoke jamanini, endeleeni kutazama Al Huda TV.
Introducing Al Huda TV mobile application. It comes packed with all our programs, loaded with features you can't afford to miss on your mobile handset. You can now keep track of your prayer timings, calculate your zakah. Your closeness to Allah is even more closer with the adhkar. Most of all, we live stream everything from the application. Go to Google Play Store to install and get the full benefit of Al Huda mobile with you everywhere you go.
Mfano wa wale wanaotoa mali zao kwa kuitafuta radhi ya Mwenyezi Mungu na kuzipa nguvu roho zao ni kama mfano wa bustani iliyo mahali pa juu, ikaifikia mvua kubwa na ikaleta mazao yake marudufu. Na hata kama haifikiwi na mvua kubwa, basi manyunyu hutosha, na Mwenyezi Mungu anayaona mnayoyatenda.
You can now access Al Huda TV anywhere, anytime, on the go. Enjoy watching all your favorite programs on Al Huda TV mobile application. From now onwards, you will not miss out on any of our programs. We have added a couple of engaging features such as Quran recitation featuring your best Quran reciters, Ramadan timetable to help you keep track of your fasting, prayer times, adhkar to bring you even more closer to Allah, and zakah calculation. Do not forget, we are streaming live right in the palm of your hands. Al Huda Mobile, with you everywhere you go.
Kauli za busara.
Dhahabu haina thamani ndani ya ardhi. Methali hii hutumiwa kuwakumbusha watu faida za kuwa na uwazi katika mambo yao. Ikiwa mtu ana rai ambayo yaweza kumfaidi rafiki yake au jamii kwa jumla, ni vyema aidhihirishe, kwani kuificha moyoni mwake haitamfaidi mtu yoyote. Maneno mazuri ni kama dhahabu, na dhahabu haina thamani ndani ya ardhi.
Kauli za busara.
Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Mpenzi mtazamaji, tumerejea na bila shaka tumeangazia mambo si kidogo, kwa hivyo ni mambo mengi tumeangalia hapa, na tumeangalia sana kuhusu hawa watoto na malezi yao, na pia tumeangalia kuwa wako na programs vile Madam Mary alituambia hapa. They have programs in set so that they can be controlled. So any discipline case, I think with the programs in place, they'll be put in line. Na tungependa sana kuingilia mambo ambazo tutatumia kama prevention measures ili watoto wasienda katika hizo correctional centers, na hatutaki yani hii correctional center ni the first resort. So mzazi akiwa anaona pengine mtoto wake haendi ama haelekei pahala pazuri, je, mambo gani unaweza mpa, tuseme nasaha, unaweza mpa nasaha kuhusu how can they correct this kid in the house themselves? Yes.
Ningependa kusema hivi, familia hatuwezi sema kwamba we can manage our children wholesome, yani kabisa, kwa sababu kuna familia na kuna environment. So jambo ambalo lingesaidia sana katika familia ni kwamba familia wawe na plan, yani na plan ya kuelekeza watoto wao ili watoto wao wasiwe na outside influence more than inside. So we want parents who are present from the word go. Unaona, isiwe kwamba unaacha mtoto wako anakuwa mkubwa ndio wakati anakuwa mkubwa sana ndio unaanza kumuingilia. Vile Waswahili walisema ile methali ya kusema kwamba mti ufanye nini upinde ungali mbichi. When you want to correct a child when they are still small. Walk with them and to walk with them to the journey. Hakuna wakati unawapa space ya kuegemea kando. Hiyo itasaidia katika familia. And also we need to go back to our values. Yani kuna ile values zetu za zamani. Mtoto awe mtoto wa community. Mtoto asiwe mtoto wa mzazi. Unaona, siku hizi mtoto wangu akifanya kosa, sitaki mtu mzazi mwingine amcorrect. Unaona, so by the time nina discover haya makosa, na mzazi mwingine pengine amekuwa akiona tu mtoto wangu akifanya makosa na mwachilia, lakini mimi by the time na discover mtoto wangu is out of control. But if we could continue having that community guidance, ile ambayo ilikuwa wakati wetu wa zamani, sisi wakati tulikuwa tunakuwa, wewe ulikuwa ukifanya makosa, baba so and so akikukuta, kiboko ambacho atakupiga na akushike mkono na akupeleke kwa babako, na pia babaka akupige kiboko. Something that does not exist now. Individualistic homes, where hata wewe hujui jirani yako, na hata ukiona unasema mimi sitaki kushika mtoto wa mwenyewe. Those are the things that we are doing away with, lakini mimi naona kwamba ndio inadhuru sana familia zetu. We also need to have, kama ni parents, sio lazima ati iwe functional family atuwe na baba na whatever, but how can we work together as a team, hata kama ni single mother, to identify people ambao wanaweza kusimama na familia yako kama single mother. Hata isiwe kwamba mtoto kila anaona ni kile cha kumdhuru. Kuna watoto wamezaliwa kwa single mothers na wana grow na ni wamekuwa watoto wazuri tu. So si lazima kwamba ati dysfunctionality in this way, but we need to look at the preventive issues. What are these that will stop these children coming to our place? Because we know that there are things that can be done. If we can guide them to be strong, to avoid peer influence, that can also help. Because mara nyingi wanakosea tu kwa sababu ya grouping, ya ile marafiki wao wa nje wanakuwa dominant, wanawaelekeza, mwishowe unapata kwamba mtoto anafanya makosa ambapo hangefanya kama angekuwa maybe na firmness na guidance. Lakini tunasema kwamba let's team up together. Na pia community was stand firm with the children, because watoto wana belong to our community. Sio kwamba wawe ni kwamba wanawacha wafanye makosa na wakati wamefanya ndio sasa wanaanza kufuatilia watoto. We need to correct them, we cry. Ile statement ya kusema watoto wametushinda iache kutoka katika midomo zetu, kwa sababu wakati tunasema watoto wametushinda ni kama we are owning up that we cannot manage the community and the
giving
children.
up in general.
Yeah, which is not fair. The children cannot defeat us. It is that they just need guidance. Even when they are making mistakes, they are crying for help. Unajua mara nyingi watoto wakifanya makosa wana cry, wanasema sisi tunahitaji msaada. Lakini as we don't respond by doing what is helpful, instead tunawa accuse, tunawa abuse, tunawasema hamsikii. Sasa we are pushing them to the wall. But we need just to get closer to them, listen to them, allow them also talk. Wakati ambapo kama sisi tulikuwa tunaambiwa mtoto ni kusikizwa, si ndio? A child is to be heard, not to be seen, not to be heard. Wakati wetu ilikuwa hivyo. Lakini saa hii let the child be heard. Kama ana kitu ambacho anaweza sema, mpe nafasi aseme. It prevents a lot of issues. Because if a child is not heard, anaweka katika roho yake, anaenda kuproject kwa vitu zingine ambazo hazimsaidii. So as also parents, as family, as a community, we also need to change our perception kwa youth wa sasa. Youth wa sasa si kama wale youth wa zamani. So if the community can go back and look at what is it that we can do better, let's evaluate ourselves as a community, let's evaluate ourselves as parents, and see where is it that we are going wrong.
Yes.
Because we could be going wrong, and that's why our children are ending up in prison. But we are not bothered. We just say, watoto wametushinda. Huyu mtoto amenisumbua mpaka sasa nataka apelekwe Boso. Kuna wazazi ambao uniapproach wananiambia, na huko kwenu watoto watakujaje huko? Na I tell them, no. Wawalete Boston. Kwa sababu huko nje amemshinda na niuliza, Madam Kaemba, mtoto anakujaje Boston? Which to me I feel is not very fair. So mi wanamwambia mtoto hakuji Boston kwa mapenzi ama kumsukuma. Wewe jaribu muelewe. Just listen to your child, talk to your child. Don't allow them be away from you. Know their friends, bring them closer, and all these things, it will be workable. So we also need to have maybe meetings, parents to be having conferences. Tumeassume wazazi wanajua. Lakini wakati imefika sasa tunaona kwamba wazazi tunahitaji kusomeshwa pia.
Kweli.
Na kurudishwa barabarani na kuambiwa this is how to do it.
Especially with this generation.
The generation.
Atuendi kwa kiboko siku hizi.
Wazazi pia wasomeshwa waambiwe ukipiga unaharibu. Mlete karibu, muongeleshe, mfanye nini. Itasaidia.
Kweli.
Yes.
Labda tu kuongezea upande wa Fariji. Because my sister amezungumzia very good breakdown. As Fariji, we also engage the community at certain levels. Because hata sisi, we also want to see the growing youth grow into responsible youth. One of the programs we have at Fariji is called Breaking the Cycle. Breaking the Cycle it's a football, it's a 7-a-side football, both boys and girls. A team has 5 boys and 2 girls. And one of our rules is simple. Girls must score. What that means is, these boys, they must look for that girl, wampatie mpira ndio afunge. Lesson number 1, gender equity. They recognize the strength. That is where the goal will come from. So we must make sure the girl is protected. And team talk. We have breaking the cycle also has children of incarcerated. Tuko na watoto ambao mzazi ama wazazi wako jela. Because from our visitation there walituambia about 40% of the children, if not nurtured well, they follow their fathers kule ndani. Number 2, before COVID, we used to have community engagement with prison. Sana committee because it's maximum.
Yes.
So tulikuwa na team za mtaani, we used to take them there. Tunacheza mpira na wao. Wanaongeleshwa na wao. Those guys inside wanaongelesha hama vijana, tumeenda kucheza nao nje. It had a very huge impact. Manake, huu ni mtu yuko ndani anakwambia, ukiendelea na ile tabia nimesikia, utatupata hapa. So it was a deterrent. But I know COVID situation, COVID protocols, we keep talking to the prison service, to know with time labda, and seeing how the health protocols are, tutarudi. Ya tatu, sexual reproductive health, SRH. Whereas we have, as Fariji, we have programs for girls about their sexual reproductive health. Increasingly, we are co-opting the boys to the program. And simple, Madam amesema about defilement as part of the reasons vijana wanaenda huko. Part of that defilement is something called revenge. It's something called just not understanding your puberty and your growth. But it is also because a lot of attention has been given to girls' sexual reproductive health at the risk of boys. In primary schools for the longest, vijana wanaambiwango, nendeni mcheze, we want to talk to the girls in the class 7. We want to talk about the menstrual hygiene. Boys are wanatoka. Now in that, we have got a statement which we normally give out as a challenge. Tunasemanga, sanitary pads is to girls as dash is to boys. People are still unable to answer the X is to boys. Because for the longest, we know what it's to the girl. Now, that which is missing in the boys, what wanaangalia nanga, it is not what is causing the delinquency, the truancy. Second last, tuko na Team X, which I mentioned as Fariji. Team X is ni kikundi cha ex-offenders. Most of them were ex-footballers. Wanapotoka nje, apart from the skills they have inside, you know, the upholstery, madam amesema carpentry, masonry na nini, they are also ex-footballers, ni wachezaji, people walikuwa na uzoefu wa kucheza. So now with the COVID protocols which are waiting for the sports ministry and prison ministry, we also want to use how these ex-offenders to get back to the community, to talk to the growing youth. It is a powerful statement coming from mtu ambaye amekaa ndani 18 years, 19, 22, talking to the growing youth about not wanting to bend ways. Madam ameguzia kitu akasema, it's just one wrong turn that these boys and girls make. And we punish them for one wrong turn.
Samahani Mr. Kiarie, wacha tupokee simu. Na assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. Naam. Nafikiri huyo hajamaliza masala nyumbani. Naam.
So kwa kumalizia tu ni ya Team X, because preventative means ukizungumziwa na mtu who has gone through that experience. Pale mtani tunasemanga ukizungumziwa na Tedium, Stitches, Eric Crouch, Moses Opula, wakikuzungumzia tunasemanga sio Netflix, sio movie, it is their personal testimony.
The truth.
It is they are giving their story. So for us tunaona, those are some of the key areas about preventative. Madam ameguzia about nyakati zao walikuwa wakizungumziwa on monologue. Mzazi anasema, mtoto anatenda. It was monologue. I talk, you action. Nowadays, the parenting of today, it's called dialogue.
We argue it out.
That's where a 5-year-old anaulizwa, utaenda, utafanya. There's a dialogue. You see? So, we also must appreciate generation yao umetoka mbali. But we also must also appreciate this new generation. We also need to handle them in the new,
the new way.
In the new way.
You're right.
You see, we can't handle them the way you have to handle. The traditional way. So I think those are small preventative measures.
Yeah. Thank you, Mr. Kiarie. Now, I would like to direct the question to Madam Mary. Just kugusia mambo na emotions. With your experience in this industry, you being the director, of course, so are there officers who have grown extremely fonder to the kids that when they leave, it affects them as well as affecting the kids as well? Like, what are the coping mechanisms between them?
You know, from the word go, what we take we have learned is that we know that the kids are there, but they will go. So as much as we allow them psychologically to interact with them, they interact with them, wanajua kwamba hawa watoto wako hapa kwa muda, si ndio? Na wakiwa wako hapa kwa muda, kuna wakati watafanya nini? Wataenda. So we have not had, of course, you know, there's a time you just like a child and just wish that, oh, this child is a good child. But what we always say is that when we develop that emotional whatever with the child, for us what pains us is the fact that if he goes away, yeah, we want him to be a better person, but not to come back. You know, that is the loss that we experience. We experience the loss, but we wish that this chance the boy has had here, let it be a useful thing for him not to come back to prison or to offend. That is what they have always done. But not that we have developed that emotions. Mtoto akienda tunasikia pana. But we want them to go, but we pray that they go outside there and be better people. Yes, that's what we have always experienced.
Okay. So it's something that it's professional. You've put it like it's a mental a state that you've put yourself in, not to grow fonder with the child.
Exactly.
Yes, okay.
Yes.
Thank you. Wapenzi watazamaji, ningependa kuwakumbusha line zetu ziko wazi. Tunaweza pokea simu 2-3 kabla hatujafunga kipindi. Na assalamu alaykum wa rahmatullah. Naam. Tuarifu jina lako, unatoka wapi? Nyanyua sauti kidogo dadangu, sikusikii. Tumempoteza huyo. Pia ningependa kuuliza Madam Mary kuhusu the benefits. Tumeona benefits kuu ya kupeleka mtoto katika hizi correctional centers ni them being corrected. So what other benefits do they reap out of being in these correctional centers?
Largely it's just for correction, but also what we have learned is that most of them really get the other side of the story. It's like it opens them up to a different world, whereby they appreciate things from a different perspective. You know, when you are outside there, you commit a crime, and when you're committing something, you think you're hurting your father. You know, mimi nitafanya hii ndio babangu asikie. You know, that's what most of them say. I will do this to hurt my father, or I did it so that my father can feel pain.
Yes.
But they've realized that it is not the father who is feeling the pain. It is them who are now feeling the pain. So they have learned to adjust and to learn the other side of life, that it is me who is accountable and it is me who is responsible, but not my family, neither my community, neither anybody else. Yeah, so correction goes with accountability when it comes to us. You are corrected, and then you become more accountable about your life. You become more responsible about your life. You know how to relate. You know, some of these children had very bad, poor interpersonal relation. Interpersonal is how do you link up with your brother? Or how do you link up with the community? How do you link up with others? You know, most of them don't have. But while there, they have now learned to share. The way he says, like now they are a team player. They know to live in a team, to play as a team, to share, to do what, to stand up for the rest. You find that somebody comes out and says, sisi kama Boston boys tunasema kwamba, you know, they own each other, they support each other, they are there for each other. So accountability and all that, it is really something that they are bound to learn, and they learn a lot. So if you talk to them today and ask them, what is it that you have learned? They will say, okay, I came here for correction, and indeed, I am corrected. I'm a different person. I'm able to share. I'm able to learn things. Some become spiritually right because they start having relationship with their God, with their whatever, depending on your religion. Yeah, because there we have all types of religious beliefs. We have Islamic, we have Protestant, we have all these people. So they're bound to get closer to the type of spiritual whatever they choose to. So it is like an open place where they learn everything that can make them a better person when they leave the institution. Yes.
So that's amazing qualities they get from there, among the main, which is correcting the character.
Yes.
Yes, I would like to know the last question before we close. You've said you have an experience of 35 years working in this industry.
Yes.
We would, as kwa faida ya watazamaji na pia just for our knowledge, we would like to know what has motivated you to stay in this industry for that long. And also on Mr. Kiarie's side, I would like to know maybe half a minute to give us your experience working with the convicts. Yes, we start with Madam.
For me, when I joined the prison work, I kept on leaving every day because I didn't like it. I kept on telling, because I went there as a graduate, I kept on saying I'll resign. I was looking for opportunities. But after interacting with the people, it really made me have a passion to people who have committed crimes. And I started feeling these are the people I should help to change. So when I look at a person who has committed a crime, it really makes me feel this person can have a second chance. This person is not as bad as it is. And there's always, because to me, I always say behavior is motivated. There's always something behind somebody doing what they're doing. And when I think like that, I really get motivated to supporting people. I can't blame anybody. And that's what drives me. I always say I can't blame anybody for committing whatever they do, because there's always a reason behind their committing a crime.
Yes.
And every time I've thought like that, I feel like I should work with people more and more, and especially those people behind the bars. And there are good souls behind the bars, very good people. Only that if they're given an opportunity and given their second chance, they can play a big role in making a difference in our country.
Amazing.
So that is what I has done so far.
That's amazing. The feeling of contentment, I know it's very present. Yeah. Yes, Mr. Aki.
I think kwa kumalizia and very quickly, I would echo my sister. The Bible tells us there's a God of second chance. That has really been the greatest motivation for me. And just also to add to that is the feeling that this person went in, I've worked with them inside there, they are out now in the society, and they are really looking forward to be a change. So Fariji just uses sport as just a glue to make them change. I can lastly just add as a NASAHA, say NASAHA kwa umma now. Because these people, they come back to us with nasema rehabilitation, reintegration, but the greatest bit is storytelling. We also need them to tell their stories. That has been a great motivation for me, because it is in telling their story that we now get to the youth. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Kiarie and Madam Mary. We're really honored to have you in our studio today. Mr. Kiarie not being a unique figure in our studio. Mpenzi mtazamaji, bila shaka tumefika tamati ya kipindi chetu cha nasaha kwa umma. Tulikuwa tunaangazia mada ya juvenile rehabilitation na tumeangalia namna tofauti za kumcorrect ama kumrekebisha mtoto huyu nyumbani. Na tukasema kuwa this correctional center should be the last resort. Parents should resort to it ama should use it as their last option. Na tumefika tamati na bila shaka tutafunga kipindi. Endelea kutazama Al Huda TV. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
الله أكبر